When I was a teenager, my youth group went to Mexico a couple times in a row to build a church in this little community and then to lead programs for kids and give this church a place to worship and gather together as believers in Jesus Christ. When I think of the church in Smyrna, I think of this church. So I started yesterday talking about the churches in Revelation, the first couple chapters of Revelation, where we have the messages to the 7 churches. Smyrna is a church that appears to be small, but is so steadfast and faithful to God. They are perhaps poor in terms of material resources, but they are rich in their love for God and their faith. And that's what I saw with this church in Mexico, where they gave so generously out of their meager resources in order to support the work of God. And it was so encouraging, even as a teenager, to realize that they were just loving God more than anything else they had in life. I think often we can get to a point of making God a material fix. If you do this, you will get these blessings. We like to cling to the prosperity gospel. The reality is, Jesus says that we are to count the cost, to take up our cross and follow him no matter the cost. And that's what he addresses to the church in Smyrna, where he says, beware, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison so that you may be tested. And for 10 days you will have affliction. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. God is not promising us a life of ease and comfort. He knows it will be hard. He asks for our hearts, our belief, our faithful and obedient response to him, regardless of what comes our way. Fortunately, we have a great witness to lean back on with this church in Smyrna. But as we consider this is not, again, just an individual thing. We're not individually faithful before God. It is the corporate ethos or the community of the church, how they are responding to God. So consider your church. Is your church as a whole one that is faithful to God? Or is it just a handful of individuals in the church that you would call faithful? And if your church is not faithful, what can you do to help encourage others in the faith, to bring them to this point where there's nothing but God first in their lives? Something to consider today. It's complicated and not always easy to answer these thought-provoking questions, but God is good and he wants you to think about this too. Blessings on you.